Welcome to Gaia's Love, a podcast of brief messages to help humanity bridge the gap to the new earth. My name is Vivienne Gerard. It is my delight to be a scribe for consciousness today, sharing the wisdom that flows through from Source. Here we go. Episode 350. 350. Isn't that amazing that I have sat in my space 350 times and tuned in to create an audio that then gets sent out 350 times? It has been sent out into this energy field of Gaia for someone to hear and resonate with. That number just makes me smile, like, wow, time has been going on. Yeah, it is a beautiful Friday here in Cincinnati again. We are being blessed with some really pretty weather after some not so pretty days of massive humidity and really hot temperatures. So it feels cooler and sweeter outside. When I went for my run this morning, it just felt nice. I wasn't struggling against the humidity like I have been this week. Okay, what are we? Today, let's just start with the good news for today. Hamilton is released. Hamilton is now available for those who have exchanged with Disney to be able to witness the making of this incredible show. I am not the world's biggest Hamilton fan. I am a fan, but I'm not the world's biggest fan. That would be my daughter. And she is so excited. She said yesterday it feels like the night before a great holiday. It's absolutely one of her favorite musicals. She has been lucky enough to see it several times, and I have been lucky enough to go with her once to see it. It was amazing. I actually created a podcast. That would have been last January. I don't think it was this year. I believe it was last year. I don't know. Time is so malleable right now. It was some time. We went to see it and I did a podcast. It must have been last year. We went to see it and I did a podcast. I think I titled it Eye of the Hurricane, Eye of the Storm. It was transformative. It was such an amazing creation, and we saw it live at the Aronoff Theater here in Cincinnati. It took my breath away. It humbled me. I cried. It was powerful. And so to know that the original cast is going to be sharing, is right now because it's already released, is sharing all of their gifts with the world. It is such a privilege for all of us to be able to witness what Lin-Manuel Miranda created. And so if you have not seen Hamilton, if you have not signed up for Disney Plus just to be able to watch Hamilton, I so encourage everyone to do it and really take the time to absorb the story and the messages and the magic he created and share it with your children and your loved ones. It is powerful. So, biggest news, most important news first. Hamilton is available for everyone to now be able to access somehow. So find the way to access it and watch this magic. Second, full moon tomorrow, full moon lunar eclipse on what traditionally would have been huge July 4th celebrations here in the United States. We are in a completely different vibration this year in America. Very different. One, we've all been through quarantine, so we have social distancing and just a lot of fear about being in bigger groups or being physically around other people. And so the celebrations are not what they normally would be for that one factor. And then you explore what is happening with racial equality in this country and the looking back through history that is reverberating forward to this moment. And it is not a celebration as we have experienced it in the past. I find it incredibly significant and relevant that on July 4th in America this year, we have a full moon in Capricorn with a lunar eclipse, signifying, well, Capricorn signifies or represents, responsibilities and order and the structure of things. My mom is a Capricorn, and everything is, organized and follows the rules, and we do it in the way that makes the most sense. And at this time, all of that is being, I don't even know what the words are, unpackaged, unraveled, opened up. The belief that it has to be the way it always has been because that's how it's been just isn't true anymore. And depending on who you follow in the podcasts or that you listen to, or in the articles that you read, or the astrology that you follow, the theories range from, well, this is just a reestablishment of the, new way we're going to be, all the way to this is a complete dissolving of this structure that we call the United States. The range is immense, and where are we going to go with this? We don't know yet. It is a co-creation, and anyone who tries to tell you this is exactly how it's going to be, and I see it and I know it and I believe it and that's absolute, is only coming from their filter, from their perspective. And there are so many of us, all of us, who are contributing to this collective energy. And so it could go any way. We don't know. We don't know. And the significance, since everything ties together, the significance of Hamilton being released, right? Astrology, humanity, source, we're all sort of working together, even if we don't realize it. Hamilton being released now, at this time, before the 4th of July, is no coincidence. This historical story, through the lens of Lin-Manuel Miranda's interpretation of it, and the way that he saw his cast and his stage and the presentation of his vision, there's no coincidence that that's happening right now. And how incredibly powerful all of the elements that are in place for what is shifting in humanity, specifically in American humanity. It's amazing. It's amazing. I had this thought this morning. I have several friends who are Canadian, and they were posting pictures of Canada Day, and it's called Canada Day. It's uniting the country, Canada. I find it so interesting that we don't call it America Day. We call it Independence Day. Independence from the British Union or the British Empire. We call it independence from that, but we are still in the midst of figuring out what is America? What does America mean? Is it inclusive of everyone? Is it actually equality for all, justice for all? There is much evidence to prove that that's not true. That has not been true. And so what are we creating? What are we co-creating? It is such a profound time to be in a human body on this planet, participating in what is happening right now. So naming all of that, I will also say it's a lot, and energetically, emotionally, it's a lot to walk through this time. And I have been feeling that very much over the last couple of days. And I've tried to understand, is it the full moon energy? Is it my sleep habits? What is it that has me sort of dragging, more than I normally, lower energy than I normally have? Why am I dragging? And I believe much of it is because I can feel this turning of the ship, this redirection that is happening. And I believe every one of us at some level is feeling that. We know things are changing permanently. We're not I mean, how many times have you heard this? We're not going back to what it used to be. Connected to coronavirus, connected to the racial injustice, connected to so many things. We're not going back to that. Thank God. And also, what are we going towards then? What are we creating then? And none of us absolutely with 100% certainty knows. None of us. And so that unknown is exhausting at times. And I was really feeling it yesterday. I was so tired. And this morning I got up and still felt kind of sluggish. And so what gets me back into my groove is that getting up in the morning, putting my running shoes on and getting outside and moving my body and getting the energy flowing and feeling the beauty of this planet and watching the sun dance through the trees with me. It's one of my favorite parts of my run, is seeing where the sunshine is and breathing the fresh air. So if you have any matches to that feeling of heaviness, do what I always suggest: get outside. Get outside, connect with the planet. Feel the steadiness of earth underneath your feet. And breathe. Breathe. This is a full year of 2020 we're moving through. It wasn't done in March before COVID started. It wasn't done in May when we stepped out of quarantine. It sure isn't done yet as we arrive at the 4th of July. It is a long-term collective shift in consciousness we are all going through. And so pacing yourself is really important. Honoring what your body is feeling and needing is really important. So that's the recap, the form that I feel we are all in energetically right now. What has been my experience of this past week, and this is, again, what I usually focus on sharing, because if this is what I've been feeling and moving through, and if this is what I sense is coming, there must be some matches. And so I share it with you, and then you find your match to whatever I share. So what I have become aware of this week is the rippling out, or the power of real connections, individual to individual. Like the pathways, the social networking that we are all doing. Not like social networking like you're going to go find a new job. I don't mean it that way. I mean the ways that souls in human bodies are finding their way towards other souls in human bodies with whom they resonate. That kind of social networking. Because that is the foundation of the structure, the new way that we are creating our world, our reality. It's through these communities that we are building, these networks that we are building, where we are supported in what we are most interested in focusing on. That was a very roundabout way of saying it. Let me try to say it a little differently. As we go through this year of 2020, as we move through each of these shifts, coronavirus has been the first one. This huge movement around the world of standing up for all colors of skin, all nationalities, really honoring that everyone has the right to equality and to a fair process of justice. This sweeping movement that has moved around the world is, I believe, this second shift. What is this third one? We don't know yet. I wonder if it is connected to the structure of governments and the structure of the United States. We're moving towards a re-election, or an election year that some are hoping is a re-election, others are very much hoping is not a re-election. We're moving towards our election process in November, and so there's so much that is coming up for us to feel and to experience. As we are moving through this year of 2020, each of us is pulled or guided towards something that resonates deep in our soul, something that ignites a spark in us of what it is we want to focus our attention on. And it may be multiple things. It may be just one area that we really want to start contributing more energy, more of our time, more of our resources towards. It's igniting new passions, perhaps, inside of us. And as we do that, we are pulled towards others who have that same interest, that same focus. A good example would be I co-hosted or co-facilitated a circle a few weeks ago with this beautiful woman who's in my energy gym, and then this young woman who had come to a new moon circle. And most of the people who were in the circle had only just met a few days or a week before. And the woman who was hosting the circle at her home had just sent out this invite, whoever resonates, show up. And the ones who showed up had just found each other. And what they were saying is, I don't even know. How did I find you? How did I meet you? You were here, you were there. It made no sense. And yet here I am having this conversation in your living room, and I feel heard. I feel seen. I feel like there are others who have the same interest as me, and so I want to collaborate. What can we do to support this area that we're focusing on? It was so powerful to see how quickly those new alliances had been formed. And at the same time, how they were sharing, many of these young individuals were sharing, I can't talk to others in my family or my friend group in the same way, and it's so frustrating and it's so isolating, and I don't want to feel that sense of loneliness anymore. I know there are others like me who want to have these kinds of conversations and begin these kinds of movements. And so they're finding each other. And also it's hard to release or honor and still, that's not even the right word. The separation is hard when you realize that the community that used to be your closest community is no longer aligned in the same way. It was so painful for them to share that. These are their family members, their closest friends, and they don't feel valued in that space. That's a painful place to be. And so it's not an easy journey always to find those that you are aligning with. Sometimes there's separation that happens. And so it was beautiful to be in that space and be more of a witness, honoring what they were going through. As we continue moving through the year, I believe the focus and the alignment is going to become more and more powerful. And as we do that, we are going to magnetize towards us more and more individuals who have that same powerful focus as us, who have that same interest area as us. And so new collaborations will begin, new communities will form, new friendships, partnerships will be birthed. And how exciting is that? How exciting when you're meeting someone who is new to you, but you're speaking the same language and you have the same fire that's burning at your soul. It's so exhilarating to feel that, and then to feel the alignment of working on something together that you both are passionately, or groups of you are passionately believing in. I sense as we keep moving through this year, there's going to be more and more of that happening, and perhaps more and more of the separating from the older communities that used to serve us and that now perhaps no longer match as fully. So by naming it, by saying it here, perhaps you can relax. You can allow the process to evolve naturally, to not be as sharp or as intense or as painful. I was describing in that circle to this one young man, he was saying to me how he felt like he had to change people's minds and, get in their face and tell them what he believes so that they could believe it too. And I showed him, I said, okay, energetically, feel what you're doing. When all of your energy is in your heart and your throat and you're projecting it out at someone else and you're saying, listen to me, do what I say, believe me, like, look here, let me tell you how it should be. When you're in someone else's face with all of that energy, often what they're going to do is step back, pull away from you because it's too much. It feels invasive of their energy space, so they're going to withdraw, or they're just going to put a wall down. They're going to, or put a wall up, so that that energy then is just bouncing off of that wall and coming back towards you, and it's so frustrating. So I said, perhaps you can try move your energy in a different way. So what if, instead of projecting it all out of your heart and your throat, what if you root in with the earth? What if you run all of that passion, all of that power, all the way down through to your feet and down into the earth, and feel yourself planted right here in this moment, feeling all of that fuel, but connecting that fuel to the earth. And I can feel the shift in myself as I say that. He said instantly, oh, I feel steadier. I said, absolutely. So when you're steadier and your energy is lower in your body and you feel grounded and you're able to breathe more deeply, what happens to your heart? Right? And he said, well, I said, open your shoulders a little wider. And he felt stronger and steadier. And he says, oh, my heart feels more open. When your heart is open like that, and you're grounded and you're in your space and you're feeling your steadiness, you can see the other person, communicate with the other person from this very solid, internally guided way. And when we communicate like that, we can listen differently. We can feel the intuition in our bodies guiding us to say, now is the time to speak, and here's what you should be saying, instead of just throwing all that energy out, and then it's just energy that has no focus. Right? We can, in this stronger stance, we can look around us and evaluate the situation and decide, am I wasting my breath, my energy on trying to convince this person in front of me who is not interested in another perspective? Or do I take my grounded stance over to this other community and use all of this power, this resourcefulness that I have to create something, to begin a movement for actual change, instead of wasting all of my energy projecting at someone who doesn't want to receive the wisdom I'm sharing with them? We're able to discern differently when we're fully in our body in this way, and observing the situations to see what feels like the best use of our time and our focus. So I didn't realize we were going to talk about that, but it feels relevant. So I'm hoping that supports whoever is feeling a match to that. Here's where it gets fun, because I do believe this journey of life is intended to be fun. What's fun is when you can start following the threads or the pathways of how all of those connections and moments happened to bring you right to where you are in this moment. I wrote a newsletter and shared it, and that really feels like the same message I'm offering you in this moment too. How did we get to here and now? And what were all of the little synchronicities and signs and magical matches that had to happen to arrive us in this current reality, this moment we choose to be in right here and right now? And when you allow your soul to show you some of those pathways, that's the magic, the fun, the delight. Because you can see how easily it could have gone a different direction, or you could have missed that one connection, or there's so many ways that it could have gone differently. And when you can see the pathway and be marveling at the incredible synchronicity that had to happen for you to be here right now, hearing me, for example, in this podcast. How did you find this podcast? What was it that brought you to this moment to listen to this podcast? There are always all of these beautiful little, it's like watching the connections in the brain and all of the neurons, and something gets fired up and it goes this way and you can see energy flowing. It feels like that to me. So I'm going to give you an example because this is just a really fun one it's a fun example. My brain is going so fast right now that I'm trying to slow it down enough to get the words out. Okay, so here's a fun example. Probably 2 years ago, it was almost 2 years ago exactly, I decided I should share my new moon circles on Meetup. Maybe it would bring in some new people to the work that I do. Never had used it before. Someone had told me 5 or 6 years ago to use it, and I wasn't interested, and suddenly it felt like the right time. So I wrote this description that just sort of flowed through, posted it on Meetup, and I think 20 people came to that next circle that month. People I'd never met, never heard of. They'd never heard of me. They land in my living room. They're like, I don't know how I got here, but here I am. One of them, there were so many beautiful people I have met through Meetup, so I honor all of them who have found their way to me through that platform. It is so beautiful. One specific individual came, and her name is Renata, and we connected right away. I started calling her Goddess. She's just stunningly beautiful, and we just had this fun connection, texted a few times, and she came to a couple circles. Anyway, she was here. When would that have been? Maybe the beginning of this year? February, March, I don't remember. It was before quarantine. And I said to her, you really should join the gym. I think you would enjoy the community that's there. So she joins the gym, and she sent me a text right after she joined, and it was for this tarot card reader who I've talked about so many times in this space now. Her name is Santero. And in the video that Renata sent me, I hope she's okay with me sharing this, but I think she will be. I'm sure she will be. She said in the video these beautiful things about a new person who had come into her life. The tarot card reading was for her sign, and it was about this new person who come into her life and the way that they would learn and exchange from each other. And she sent it to me, and she said, this person is you. And I was watching the video, and I started to cry. I'm like, oh my gosh, that person is me. That is exactly how I do my work and how I hold space. And who is this card reader that knows me even though she's never met me? So I do some research in Santero's YouTube channel and look at a couple Aquarius and Gemini videos, because that's what I was. And suddenly Santero is guiding me. Literally, she is telling me week by week what is happening, and I'm listening to the advice, and it's unfolding in front of me. And the whole way through quarantine, she had these beautiful videos, and I was just amazed at how accurate they were. So then, this is so funny. So then I have the space that I host with my friend Andrea on Wednesday nights that I call Quietly Listening. It's my absolute favorite energy healing. Andrea does virtual acupuncture, and I don't even have words for it. It's the best. It's my favorite thing to do. So one of my very favorite things to do. So I had been feeling so grateful for what Santero had been offering me and all of this guidance. I purchased some of her extendeds, but I felt like I just want to give her a gift of thank you. And so in my meditation time, I got this nudge, like, send her an invitation to join Quietly Listening. She would really benefit from it. So I sent her an email. I said, I don't know why I'm sending you this, but I feel like perhaps it would serve if you would like to join our community tonight, or it was Monday. On Wednesday, here's the coupon code. I would love to have you with us. She replied back, and she said, you don't even know how perfect the timing is. I'm so glad. I will be there. So she joins the call and has the healing, and the next day she sends me an email, and she said, I just want to thank you. I feel so great, and I gave you a shout out in my Aries video. was like, what? I'm not even Aries. What is she talking about? Why is she giving me a shout out? So I go watch the video. My son is an Aries. I watch the video, and in it she is saying how she didn't think she'd be able to work that day, but she did this amazing healing with these two women last night, and now she feels so great, and so you should go to the website and learn more about them. And I'm watching this going, what? That's so kind. I can't believe she did that. How nice of her, right? And so I sent her a message back saying thank you. Well, then I have a few people from Canada that start subscribing, and I don't know, maybe 3-4 weeks later, this woman signs up for an introductory energy reading with me, and it's from watching this Aries video. So we get on the phone, we do our session, and the whole time I'm just delighted with how beautiful her energy is and how fun she is. And so I said to her, you know what you really need to do is join the gym. She's like, I don't know, maybe, but, blah, blah, blah. So she ended up 2 weeks later, she joined the gym. She joined the gym on Tuesday and was on our call on Tuesday night. Tuesday afternoon, Santero releases a video, and she says, this is a thank you video. I want to thank those people who have supported me in my path and broadcast my work to other people. And she said, in return, I would like to introduce you to some other newer up-and-coming tarot card readers who I follow, who I enjoy. And if you want to try their channels out, I think it would be good to keep spreading the support for this community. I'm like, how amazing, how amazing that the woman who found me through her joined the gym tonight on the day that she posts this video about community and gratitude and creating new collaborations. So I go to the links that Santero suggested, and I signed up for a couple of them. One is Untitled Tarot, beautiful, incredible young woman who is so on track. If you haven't had a chance, check her out, Untitled Tarot. And then another one was Grasshopper Tarot. I think that's his name, Grasshopper Tarot. So I followed a couple of them, and this was Tuesday, right? Today's Friday. So yesterday or the day before, I was watching one by Untitled Tarot while I was getting my lunch and just watching her share. And she shared her story, and she said, here's my journey to this moment. And a year ago, I was at the bottom of the bottom, not knowing if I wanted to even stay alive here on this planet. She said, now here I am. She had had a couple glasses of wine. She said, all of a sudden my subscribers just started multiplying today. I didn't know why. It was totally unexpected. And then I found out that Santero gave me a shout out in a video. Didn't know that was going to happen. She said my energy started just bouncing around the room, and so I had to have some wine to bring me back into my body. And she said, so now let me introduce myself to you. And she had this beautiful video, beautiful, just sharing what tarot means to her and how it's guided her path to this moment today. So then I watched this very short thank you. I think it was a thank you from Grasshopper. His name is John, Grasshopper Tarot. And it was a really beautiful, short, thank you message. And so today, there's a point to this whole story. Besides the magic of the journey, that is the whole point of the journey. Today, when I was feeling tired and kind of sluggish and like, this collective energy is heavy, and I don't know what to do about it, and I don't know what to do for myself sometimes to manage it. And so while I was getting dressed and ready, I went to my YouTube channel, or my YouTube account, and up popped this suggested video by Grasshopper Tarot. Well, it was his very first video that he made a year ago, before he ever knew Santero was going to give him a shout out and he would multiply subscribers in a day or two. It was a year ago. It was the first time. He had just received, he's a beautiful soul, he had just received a pack of tarot cards, and he had opened them and shuffled them, but he hadn't gone through to look at the images. And he made this video as he was cutting the deck, and he blah blah blah. My brain needs to slow down. He wanted to share with us the first card he was going to pull from the deck, and it was his first video that he was making. I believe, I hope I have that right, but that's the message I got from the video. The card that he pulled was Unfinished Symphonies, which is the title for my podcast today. And in this video, he describes, first of all, how he's new to tarot, how he's not quite sure how this is all going to go, but he feels guided that he needs to start sharing this thing that he does. And he's just going to read the images and see what he feels to share from that. And it's not traditional tarot, it's just him sharing his intuition. He was beautiful and real and vulnerable and not polished, just showing up. The card that he pulled was Unfinished Symphonies, and it showed this young person sitting on top of an egg, and there were all these music notes in the air around, and he started to describe how he feels like all of us are like that. We are here, we've birthed, we're in existence, and also we're always birthing something new, and it's never finished. And so there's always going to be a new birthing that comes through us. There's always this new creation that is possible to keep flowing. He said, look at me. Here I am creating this video and tuning into tarot card reading. Who knew? Right? So beautiful. So beautiful. The card was exactly where he was, and he just shared it so powerfully and simply. And so that was the video that I watched right before I stepped into the space today, and it feels relevant in so many ways. I would not have received that message if Renata hadn't decided to come to meet up 2 years ago. I would never have gotten that message this moment today. And so look at the beautiful pathway and thread that happened, and all that brought in along the way. I got to be introduced to Santero and all of her amazing gifts. This new beautiful woman has joined our gym community, and so Renata and I get to play with her and with all the other women in our space. Everything just keeps expanding. You know, the second message that I got from watching his video is we're all in this symphony, this collective symphony. And this is what I talked about in my newsletter this week. When you listen to music, there are all these different instruments and different ways that they dance and play with each other. And sometimes one is more prominent and sometimes another. Sometimes it's just the whole orchestra that's all playing at the same time. But everything is moving us through this collective symphony, this co-creation. So what are we each contributing to that symphony? Sometimes, like I described in my newsletter, sometimes we're the high note, and we're the main presentation, and you can hear that piano key just hitting the high note, and that's all you're focusing on. And sometimes we're the guitar that's dancing with the piano, or we're the drums that's holding that steady foundational beat at the bottom. Sometimes we're just flowing with the whole thing. It's incredible, the range of experiences that are available to us when we are souls in human bodies on this planet. When I saw the card that John shared in Grasshopper Tarot, to me it looked like a rocket ship because I was looking at it through his camera from far away on my phone. It didn't look like an egg, it looked like a rocket ship. And I was feeling that parallel of the story. We're here in this tiny blue planet of Earth, and everything feels so real and so intense and so like ultimate. Everything has to be a decision that is made, and then another decision, and it feels so much. That's the only word. It feels so much sometimes. And if we can expand that picture of the symphony, or that picture of the little person on the rocket ship, this blue planet is tiny in this galactic universe, and there are all these other planets and stars and energy fields, and so much is happening outside of what we are experiencing right here and right now. So I can feel myself wanting to fly out. Like, yes, let's go out into the universe. It feels way easier out there. It really does. Here's what feels true to me about this unfinished symphony title. Here in the planet Earth, on the planet Earth, we get to play with physical. We get to create podcasts, audios, books, tarot card reading videos, events where people can sit and connect and talk, food, babies. We get to create babies. I don't know if there are babies on other planets. From what I have become aware of in my own soul journey, there are individual experiences that the soul has in those other places. I don't know that souls are birthing new souls on other planets. Here in these physical bodies, that is one of the greatest magical, profound possibilities, is that we get to create a new physical human form. When I think of that, right, like, oh my gosh, like of course the soul would want to come to a human plane and witness or participate in the creation of new physical beings. So I'm meandering. I think when I went out into the universe, it's like, oh, okay, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. Bringing it back to unfinished symphonies. Unfinished symphonies. We are here in this moment. You are listening to these words because you choose to be here in a human body on Earth. You specifically chose to be alive in the year 2020 and be grown up enough, adult enough to tune into a podcast and hear my voice say these words to you. So, what are you going to do? We're halfway through the year. What is it you want to contribute? What are the unfinished notes that you're going to be bringing into your symphony for 2020? Who do you want to collaborate with? When we feel the possibilities of that, there are so many things we can focus on, and so many people we can pull in to magnetize towards us to align with that focus. But until we kind of figure out what it is we're focusing on, it's not always possible to magnetize those people towards us. So perhaps at this full moon in Capricorn weekend, take some time. Do the festivities that feel relevant to you. Absolutely watch Hamilton. That should be a non-negotiable for all humans. Watch Hamilton today on Disney+. We were actually just talking last night. My husband said Disney's a little concerned that everything might crash when everyone tries to watch it together. Also, like, how cool would that be that Hamilton crashed into Disney? Like, whoa. Whoa. Like, how powerful would that be? And also, Disney will rebuild it and we'll watch it and it's all going to be perfect. So it would just be the exclamation on top of Hamilton being released today. But I encourage you, and I encourage you this weekend, take some time to be really present with what is it that you want to focus on. Maybe you haven't resonated with it yet. Maybe that awakening or focus area that is going to really fire up the passion in your soul hasn't manifested yet because we're not all the way through 2020. If so, be still, journal. What would you like to, what would I offer you as guidance if you don't know yet? Perhaps focus on fear versus love. If you are choosing to align with love, what could you pull towards you that would expand your capacity to love? Because ultimately that's what this entire year is about. Everything that we are going through is bringing up the fear within us so that we can experience it, release it, and move towards more love. So perhaps the second half of the year, if you choose to focus on what expands the love you feel for yourself, for humanity, for Gaia, for everything, for Source, something will be opening for you. You will be guided towards it, and then your people will be magnetized towards you who want to also focus on that. If you already know what that passion is, if it's already been clearly defined for you, spend some time this weekend in the full moon lunar eclipse energy and ask yourself, how do I best align with the highest possibilities? What greatest contributions can I bring towards this experience or this movement or this shift in this area? How do I show up as my best, most expansive version of myself? And then trust how you're guided and let that create the rest of your year. There's so many options for us, and there are so many more that are going to present themselves. So, yeah, that was a very roundabout way to share what I'm feeling right now. I feel good. I feel tired sometimes, but I feel really good and really peaceful, very centered, very much like the line, the eye in the storm or the eye in the hurricane. I know how intense and powerful the shifts are that are happening everywhere and all around me and also within me. But I feel very calm and peaceful in this moment. So, yeah, we're only halfway through the year, friends. So let's really focus on what we can contribute in the most meaningful ways for the second half of this year. All right, I am headed into my gym in a few minutes. We have another new person who's joined today. I'm so excited. If you feel a resonance with that, check it out. It's on my website, mysouljourney.com, under offerings, community, Viv's Energy Gym. We're also going to be meditating on Sunday, and I invite you to join us there. That is under offerings, meditations, Here Now with Viv on Sundays. Yeah, have a beautiful, powerful weekend and take really good care of yourself. Thank you for tuning in to this vibration of pure love. I invite you to join me on Sunday mornings for an hour of meditation, visualization, and energy healing, where we realign our mind, body, spirit with Gaia and Source. You can learn more at mysouljourney.com. Let's take this message of Gaia's love out into all of our relationships and communities today. So much love from my heart to yours.